Good morning. We're switching things up a little bit. I realized I had this iPhone stand thing. Why not use it? So we're going to try it. Let's see if you guys like this angle a little bit better. I thought today I would talk about shapes. We've talked about shapes a little bit in previous videos. Shapes are the building blocks of everything that you draw. Everything, absolutely everything, can be broken down into basic shapes. So if you can make a halfway decent circle or even a halfway decent square and a triangle, like you have the ability, the muscle memory to draw anything. The thing that is tricky is perceiving those shapes in everyday things, right? So I've got this reference here of this lady wearing a scarf and a long coat, and I've already broken this drawing down into a couple of different versions here, and I'll just briefly walk through. So the one on the left is broken down into shapes. It's a little more detailed than the one on the right. The one on the right is broken more abstract into big blocky shapes, right? And we're just going to draw over this just to see what I'm talking about here. Let's pull this so you can still see the reference that I've got. And I'll use a brighter color. And maybe we'll go with our favorite pen. So the overall shape is typically where I start, like when I'm looking at a character. And a lot of this, like if you draw regularly, you see this stuff, you practice it, a lot of it happens automatically that you don't have to draw out these references every time. Which is why the one on the left I actually drew first, the more detailed version, and the one on the right, it takes a little bit more to spit out those big blocky shapes. But I typically start with what is the overall shape of this thing that I'm drawing. And what I see when I'm trying to abstract this person and this pose is just like a skewed long rectangle. That's the basic shape of this person. Now you could, depending on your project, you could just leave it there and add a couple of legs and ta-da, you've got a person. But that's not where we're going. We want this to be a little more detailed and recognizable by most everybody. So from here, I'll block out some bigger shapes, maybe the scarf here, and I don't know if you realize, so Procreate has this feature where if you draw a line, and let's just say you're a little bit wiggly but you need it to be straight, you just hold, don't lift up on the pencil, and it kind of acts like a ruler, right? So here's that scarf shape that I see, and it kind of comes up. We can talk about wrinkles and overlapping in other videos. And then she's got her arm, which is another, just a skewed rectangle coming up over here. And you can see a little bit of the back of her arm behind there. And then this other arm on the other side, her left arm, is a polygon that connects to the shoulder here, a little kind of triangle shape. And then you can see a little bit of her sleeve here and her fingers coming across there. And I think maybe there's a thumb, but we won't worry too much. And then she has her scarf coming down the side here, which is like another, actually, It's more like a triangle. Here, here, and up here, with the little fringes coming off the ends. And then her coat, we're just breaking up that shape a little bit here. And the shirt, you can see here with little circles for the buttons. We're just going to clean up this line here. And then her head and her face, obviously this is more of like an oval with another circle for the ear. And then the face is its own thing, which we won't really go over in this video, but the face, you can also break up the face in its own shapes. Okay, here we go. And then these are just little squares down here for the pants. And I usually do little triangles for the feet. Just like that. And that's the basic shapes of this pose here, right? And then you can get a little more detailed here, like on this version. We can just draw over what we've got here. Once you've got these basic shapes, then you have the building blocks of your pose basically all worked out. And then it's easier to just go over things and add all the details. Oops. And got her hand in this one. Hands are their own thing, but those are also just, you can break up the hand into shapes. Each little finger and how they all connect. It's all just basic shapes. This opens up so much once you are able to see everyday things in their basic shapes. Drawing is like a portion of it, of course, is the muscle memory, and just building up drawing straight lines and getting used to, you know, drawing the curves and all of that. A lot of drawing, I would say the majority of drawing, is learning how to observe and finding these shapes in everyday things, and learning how to see the way that we process the things that we see. A lot of, like, our brain does a lot of tricky things just to efficiently decipher the things that we see in life. There's a really good book, at least I found it helpful growing up. It's called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, and it talks about this a little bit, how our minds abstract things that we see. Like if you were to ask anybody to draw a bicycle, right? It would be very tricky. The bicycle is made up of so many overlapping shapes and weird shapes. And our mind doesn't really hold all of that information. It abstracts it, and it kind of creates like an internal icon of what a bicycle looks like. So when you ask someone to draw a bicycle, it's very difficult. Even seasoned artists, if they're not used to it, because we turn things into just icons, their most basic forms. And learning to see and notice what you're actually looking at. One of the exercises in the book, and it's not unique to the book, but the first time that I encountered this exercise was in drawing on the right side of the brain. And the exercise is to draw a portrait of someone, but the reference photo that you're using, flip it upside down, which tricks your brain into actually looking at what it is that you're looking at, right? Instead of seeing a human face and allowing our brain to kind of take over and abstract, what does an eye look like? Well, here's an eye, right? That's not really what an eye looks like, but that is the icon that our brain has to simplify and speed up interpreting the things that we see. But if you're looking at the image upside down, then it tricks your brain into viewing, I don't know exactly what I'm looking at, but there's a line going down this way, and there's a square going over here, and a circle, and it's so interesting when you complete the exercise. You flip your drawing right side up, and you have a portrait, a fairly accurate portrait. It's a fun thing to do. So anyway, this is how I've gotten into breaking things down into basic shapes, and I hope that's helpful for you. Let me know what you thought and what you would like to see next. We'll catch you in the next one.